Sometimes we feel like life is the opening scene of a high school movie. You know what I'm talking about. The main character walks in for the first day of school. They see all the different groups they can be a part of, the jocks, the nerds, the cheerleaders. And they try to decide which group they're going to be a part of. For us, it's similar in life. There's so many options around us, and we feel either we've got to choose, or our culture dictates what we need to choose. See, in the West, we feel we need to choose. So we look at all the different options in life and we go, am I going to be gay? Am I going to be straight? Am I going to be an actor? Am I going to be a dentist? Am I going to be a doctor? Am I going to be married, not married? Am I a happy person? Am I a sad person? All these things we put into the basket, which we call our identity, and then what we do is we measure ourselves continually to see if we make the perfect person that we want to be. And we fight for the self-image, don't we? I mean, if we don't feel like we're getting it, then we start looking at magazines, we start looking at anti-aging cream, we start looking at self-affirmation. We start looking at so many other things, including moving our job, sometimes even moving country, just so that we can feel better about ourselves. Don't you sometimes wish you could just shout out to God, God, who am I? I just want to be happy. The great news is the Bible does have an answer. It does tell us who we are. You see, if we go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, it tells us that when God created the world, He created us in His image. Male and female are created in His image. That's the first shocking truth. We're not made in our own self-image. We're made in a God image. So we shouldn't have a self-image because we've got a God image. Yet sadly, something went horribly wrong. In Genesis 3, we rebelled against God. Adam and Eve, our first parents, the first people, were told by God not to eat from a certain tree, and they did. And it was nothing with the tree that caused sin to enter the world. It was by the mere fact that they weren't listening to God. And when that happened, the world fell. Evil entered the world. Suffering entered the world. Pain entered the world. And humanity continued to live a life not listening to God. You and I, and every person that's lived, has chosen to not live a life for God. We're now self-image builders as opposed to God-image builders. In Ephesians 2, we're actually called dead in our sin. That's how bad our state is. Which means our task of achieving God's glory is, well, it's impossible! The good news is we don't have to go to India. We don't have to get up and move jobs. We don't have to feel like we're in high school and we've got all these options around us and we have to pick who we are. Because He made a plan. See, He put on flesh. God came to earth. And He did not let our rejection of Him go unpunished. Instead, He took that rejection upon Himself. And Romans 5 says that at the moment He died on the cross, His righteousness was put onto us. And all our sin, all our rejection of God was put onto Him. We've got His righteousness. That means in everything we do, God sees us as perfect. Now, you and I might not feel it now. We might not experience it now. But because of what Christ has done, we have His righteousness inside of us. And that's what God sees. That's what matters to God. You don't have a self-image. You've been made back into the image you had before Genesis 3. You have a God image. If you're not a Christian, then it's time you gave up your old self-image, the one that you can't achieve and it's broken, and go for the God image, the one that's given to you. If you've already got that God image, then start getting into Scripture. Start going to church. Start finding out what it means to live for this God image. And don't go back to your old self-image. Why would you want to go back to trying to achieve something that you can't achieve and it's broken when you've got given a God image that's perfect as a gift to you?